From Little League to the big leagues and everywhere in between. From one stage to another. Passion is my middle name. I'm J.J. Davis. This is In Focus. You know, the first time I talked to this guy, I knew I liked him. During March Madness, this head coach, Chris Crutchfield, led the Mavericks through the madness for the first time in UNO basketball history. So, relaxing with me right now. I don't know if he ever relaxes. I mean, he's the head coach. Does he ever sit? Is Chris Crutchfield. Do you ever sit when you're at a game?
No. I just thought about it. I never sat down.
Coaches are just known to get up. It's just kind of a nervous thing. You always want to be in control.
Well, I don't know if it's more control. It's just to feel like you're more in tune to the game if you're standing up opposed to sitting down.
What a game. What a history. The Mavericks were basically in the public consciousness nationwide because of the trash can, crushing the trash can. So, what's the over-under on trash cans destroyed this past season? Over, under 20?
Probably under. We didn't start it until we got the conference play. So we what was that? Maybe 13 wins in conference play, another 3 in the conference tournament. So under.
And then you realize it's a good thing, so let's keep doing it.
Oh, it became a good thing. It became a really good thing.
Good thing in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. You grow up in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. Yeah. Blue blood, yeah. Kentucky, the Wildcats, what?
No, I was a Wildcat fan. And my sisters are still a Wildcat fan.
Really?
To this day.
Rupp Arena, all that stuff.
Rupp Arena, loved it. Played in the state tournament as a high school basketball player. Won a state championship. And played in Rupp Arena, great arena. I've yet to coach a game in that building.
That'd be wild.
So we're trying to get a game back into that building. So
sports you play in high school? Football, basketball, guy, what?
Both, football and basketball.
What positions?
I was a receiver in football, and I was kind of a 3-4 type guy in basketball.
Little wing player coming in off the wing?
Yeah, I could shoot it a little bit. Just wasn't very athletic.
Recruiting-wise, anybody come calling?
No, I had a lot of football offers to play football. Took some official visits, Kentucky, Missouri. Took an official visit to Murray State when Frank Beamer was there.
Yes, old Frank Beamer.
He left a year late.
I used to cover the Hokies. I know all about Frank Beamer.
Yeah, so took a couple of official visits in football. I was considered a Prop 48 at that time. That's when the new rule came out in '86. I graduated '87, so I was a prop. And one of my teammates went to Austin Peay to play basketball. So the coaches at Austin Peay took myself and another teammate and put us in a junior college up in Minnesota.
Isn't that crazy?
And we go to junior college up in Minnesota, and a year later, Lake Kelly, the late Kelly, I don't know if you remember Lake Kelly, he was the head coach at Austin Peay. He got fired at Austin Peay. So we were stuck in this junior college without no direction.
So UNO fits in, the Mavericks. Football, basketball, what? Did you get recruited? Did you go to UNO?
For football. Sandy Buddha came calling.
My man, Sandy Buddha.
Yep, my man, Sandy Buddha, one of my favorite people. And he came calling, and I took the scholarship, and it came down to UNO in St. Cloud, and I just felt more comfortable here in Omaha when I took my visit, and the rest is history.
What position?
Receiver.
Again?
Yep.
I mean, you look more like a tight end to me now.
Well, that was probably 40 pounds ago.
Now, I spoke to Sandy Buddha recently, and I said, Sandy, you got any stories about Coach Crutchfield? And he goes, yeah. I heard it's a rumor. It might be true. How'd you get on the basketball team?
I was trying to play the whole time.
Did it have anything to do with slam dunk contest?
Yes. There was a slam dunk contest, and I got in it. Myself and my roommate, who was another football player, Victor Barnes was his name, and we both got in the slam dunk contest. And Bob knew I could play because Bob
Hansen.
I talked to Bob on the visit one for football, and he's like, I don't know, saying they're gonna let you do that, right? And I never messed with it, right? Until the dunk contest. All of a sudden, I guess it got back to Bob that, wow, this kid jumped over a table with a young lady on it. And
Really?
and he said the next year, well, let's see. And I think they had a couple guys get hurt, a couple guys leave the team, and he was able to slide me in my last year at UNO.
What'd you like better, football or basketball? Or did you like them both for different reasons?
I liked them both for different reasons, but my first love probably was basketball, just because growing up in the state of Kentucky, basketball was the thing. And I grew up playing it ever since I was 4 or 5 years old. Right. And that was my first love. I happened to be really good at football. I mean, I was a 4 or 5 guy that could run. I was 6'3" and 190. I could run. I had good hands.
Yeah.
I was just skinny. You know, I wasn't a real, back then I was skinny. So I was good at it. So I kept playing, and then those guys came calling with the scholarship, because I thought I was going to go to Austin Peay to play basketball, and that didn't work out. So I had to take a detour.
You graduate 92, criminal justice degree.
92, yeah.
Then you get your master's degree in health, physical education, administration in 96. So how'd you become a basketball coach?
Oh, man. It's interesting, because I was doing an internship with juvenile probation here in Omaha. And my plan, I had finished my degree and I had to finish the internship. So I did that for a semester, and they was getting ready to hire me as a full-time juvenile probation officer. I had a caseload and everything. I was working, and I was up playing noon ball in the Hyper building. It was called the Hyper building back then, and now it's H&K. So I'm playing noon ball, running to one of the coaches. He said, "You ever thought about being a GA?" And at that time, I had no idea what a GA was. I was like, "What's a GA?" He said, "It's a graduate assistant coach." I was like, never thought about it, never thought about coaching. I said, "I'm doing this internship. I think I'm going to go into the criminal justice field."
But you started your coaching career at UNO.
Right here, as a GA, yeah.
And then you go to Texas San Antonio, you follow the head coach there, and then it's the resume, because TV guys, coaches, we got resumes, right, Coach?
No doubt, no
New
doubt.
Mexico State, TCU, Oral Roberts, Oklahoma. What'd you learn all those years?
Wow, I mean, a lot. As a young assistant, I had no idea what I was getting into, and I was blessed to be able to work for Lou Henson. Lou Henson, I left junior college as a head coach to go work for Lou Henson, who was on the back end of his career at that time. And he's a Hall of Famer. Man, I learned so much from Lou, man. He was a class act. He knew basketball, offensive, defensive. And I learned more from him that time being there.
But was it more about the X's and O's, or, as you know, as they say, the Jimmies and the Joes?
It was both, really. And I knew, what a good player was, because I coached junior college, and we have sent a bunch of players to Division I when I was at Tyler Junior College. So I knew what a player looked like and what a player was. So once I got to New Mexico State, it was a chance for me to recruit mid-major players.
You speak of Tyler, the Apaches. I work at Iowa Western, so Tyler's a big name in the JUCO
yes,
world.
it is.
That was your first head coaching job in
No doubt about it.
1999.
Yes.
What'd you learn?
Oh, a lot. I mean, I was young. I was 30 years old.
Screamer?
No, I was pretty laid back then too. I was intense, but I never screamed, never yelled. But I had been there 2 years as an assistant, and the head coach took a job at Oklahoma State, so they put me into that position.
But then after that, back on the road again, right? 20-some years as an assistant again.
No doubt.
Back. What's the deal?
Well, that's why I call it the detour. I call it the detour. People don't realize, how hard it is to move in this profession, to get an opportunity to be a head coach. But you have to move. And I tell all young coaches, like, if you're really going to
TV, it's broadcast.
Right. If you're gonna move up in the profession, you're gonna have to move. It might be moving levels. Hopefully, you don't get fired.
Right.
And I've been blessed enough to not ever get fired.
In television, we say you really haven't been in the industry unless you've been fired.
Okay. And that's probably the same in coaching too. To be honest with you, so. I mean, I took the job in New Mexico State, worked for Lou. Lou was on the back end of his career. Lou retired after 4 years. in New Mexico State. So I moved to TCU with Neil Doherty, who had worked for Roy Williams at Kansas for a long time. So I worked for Neil for 2 years, then went to Oral Roberts with Scott Sutton.
I'm telling you, it's crazy. And then what? You go back to be a head coach, what? East Central University in Oklahoma, D2 school. Then you go to Dana Altman at Oregon as an assistant coach. And finally, why'd you take the gig at UNO, head coach?
Because I thought we could win. I really did. I thought there were some special things here in Omaha. And I told Adrian at that time and Mike Kemp, who came out to interview me for the
I know
job.
the Kemper, good guy.
I told him, I said, guys, like, I can sell Omaha, I can sell the city, I can sell Baxter Arena, and I can sell my university. And I said that, like, and they looked at me and kind of like, okay.
So your first year, you go 9-23.
Right.
Building,
Yeah.
15-18. And then you win the Summit League Championship, the postseason tournament, go to the NCAAs, 22-13. A steady rise in 3 years. What's it been?
It's been having a plan and a vision of what you wanted this program to look like, understanding what it was going to take to compete in the Summit League, a league that I had been in before at Oral Roberts, but it's changed.
Yes.
But our staff, I have a great staff. They do a great job of keeping our guys prepared, keeping our guys locked in. I just had to give them the blueprint.
I was going to say, what's the first thing that you said, yeah, I got to change this when you got to UNO? The culture, whatever.
All of it. We had to change everything. We changed it all. You're talking about a rebuild from the ground up. And culture was part of it because some of those kids hadn't won before. Then we had to change our look. Like we had to get bigger. We had to get more athletic. We had to get more skilled. So we just changed our recruiting philosophy and went after what we thought was really good, skilled, talented players.
And what about the head coach? Did he have to change?
A little bit, yeah. Oh yeah.
Do you fit your system to the players, as we say, as the cliche goes, or the players to the system, or the system to the players?
Early on is the system to the players. Then it's the players to the system. And when we first started, we changed some things. I had an idea of how I wanted to play offensively and defensively, but we couldn't do it right away.
So as I sit here with you, I want to ask, what kind of guy are you? Because I'm used to being around a lot of screamers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Old school coaches. You seem to me to be the 21st century head coach. Nice and calm, cool, collected, rather dapper. Is that a good description?
I think so. I mean, thank you. I think that's a compliment. Thank you very much. But I think spending 8 years with Lon Kruger, I learned you can get the same out of players by treating them like men and talking to them opposed to yelling and screaming. Now, we're demanding and we work hard, don't get me wrong, but we never try to call them out their names. We try to never demean them. We're trying to push them and motivate them.
So is that more like your mother or your father?
My mother was quiet and laid back and real docile. My stepfather was a little bit of aggressive nature. He spent time in the Army, so he was that kind of
like Shaq O'Neal's dad.
Yes. So, but I think over the years, when you work for so many different head coaches,
right,
I think you steal something from everyone, and you try to incorporate that in your identity and what you want to be as a head coach. And the perfect one was Lon, because he got the most out of players without yelling.
Well, listen, I'm not going to yell. I mean, this has just been a really easy conversation, as I expected it to be. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Chris Crutchfield.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
I don't really have any trash cans for you. It's nice to see you, and good luck down the road.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Coming
Thank
up
you.
next, the real Music Man, after the break. I don't really know this gentleman, but I believe I've auditioned in front of him a couple of times in the not-so-distant past. And of course I sucked. But you know, that's how it goes sometimes in the audition process. Sometimes you just don't have it. Other times you're not what they're looking for, etc., etc. Joining me right now is the longtime musical director of the esteemed Omaha Community Playhouse, Jim Boggess.
Hello.
Goodbye. No, we all know about the audition process. It's that way sometimes, isn't it, Jim?
Oh, auditions are the worst thing in the world. Before I was a music director, I started out as a singing actor.
That's right.
And I'll tell you what, I hate auditions more than anything in the world. They're so hard. They're just terribly hard. What did you audition for?
A play. I can't remember, some musical. But here's the deal about auditions, as you know. Sometimes you go in and you walk out and you think you did pretty good.
Yeah.
Nothing happens. Other times you walk out, I sucked, and something happens. Isn't that crazy how it
You just
works?
never know.
That's right. Now, you've been to a lot of auditions over the years. What? Probably at least over 100 shows. You've been the musical director at the Playhouse since 1996.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. And I was doing it before that other places.
That's right.
You know?
Who would have thunk a kid from Estherville, Iowa? Here we go. According to the 2020 census, just under 6,000 people, just over 5 square miles.
Uh-huh.
What do you remember? What do you do? What'd you do growing up?
Well, I mostly was trying to find a way to get out. So, and that was from a really early age. But, I was really lucky to be raised where I was raised with the family I was raised with. I had great parents, 8 siblings, good Irish Catholic family. But I tend to think now that if I hadn't been raised in that little small town in Iowa, I would have gotten myself into a lot of trouble, because I used to call myself the what the hell kid of 1974. I'd try anything, and but I was lucky that I had that early discipline,
guidance and discipline,
and just really, really good parents. So although I would never go back,
right.
I'm not sorry I'm from there.
Now, I like one of your quotes on Facebook. If I wanted to be on a team, I'd play sports. But I have no intention of doing so.
Oh, God. I'm so mouthy. I've changed my mind a little bit about that, too.
Oh, here we go.
But only because when you're doing a show, when you're a music director, your work may be good, but the show is only going to be good as you and the director and the choreographer and the ensemble that you find and all that stuff. The team, right? And so if a small team is fine,
right?
I still do not intend to play organized sports.
So when did you find music?
Oh gosh, I was a little kid. My parents introduced me to big bands when I was a kid. My mother was a really good singer. And I think if she hadn't had kids, and so many of them, she might have been an actress, because she just had a flair for the dramatic.
Right.
Yeah, she's a great lady.
Doris May Hollenbeck.
Oh my God, and yes. I put that picture up every year on
love
Facebook.
that picture.
Is she glamorous or what?
Is, and she looks like she doesn't take any guff.
Believe me, she didn't.
Now, you have gone on record as saying, I'm an MGM kind of guy. I'm a big band guy.
I love big bands. Yeah, I love big bands. I love big orchestras. I love big stuff. I mean, I like small stuff too, but to me, you just can't beat the sound of a 12-piece orchestra and a whole bunch of singers.
All right, so you graduate from UNI with a degree.
I did not graduate from UNI.
But you went there and majored in vocal performance.
I did.
Tell us the story behind that.
Well,
Story time with Jim Boggess.
okay, I was when I was in high school, I was a singer, and I wasn't bad. And of course, like all young kids who can sing, I thought I was going to be the next, Vic Damone, or
We all did.
didn't we?
Yes.
So I went to UNI. I didn't really want to go there. I wanted to go to Iowa State, but my dad wouldn't let me because he said that I would just turn into a hippie. And so I said to him, "You think I can't be a hippie in Cedar Falls? Watch this." So anyway, I ended up never going to class, and but I was in all the shows. So I did exactly what I wanted to do. And then about 3 years after I started, I just went, oh, I know what happened. I was doing summer stock in Tarkio, and they had auditions for the Firehouse Brigade. And at that time, my voice was shot. So I wanted to give it a big, long rest. And luckily, I played the piano. So they hired me to play the piano for the brigade.
Well, you bring all that to Omaha, 1974.
74.
Mule Barn Theater, Firehouse, Dinner Theater. So that brought you here.
Right.
And?
So then I was here, and I worked at the Firehouse for a long time, and then I joined up with two brigaders. That was the pre-show group I was in.
Right.
Jim and Pam Kale.
Right.
And we formed a trio called Best of Friends, and we worked for a long time. We were booked for one weekend at M's Pub, and it turned into about 3 years, every weekend. And we were able to stop waiting tables. All we had to do was work on our show,
right,
and work on weekends,
right,
at the pub, and it was wonderful.
But you also participated the first couple of years in the Nebraska Theater Caravan.
Yeah, I was in the Caravan for a couple of years. Yeah.
You've also you tried your luck, but first in 1990, you go back to UNO, to college, to do what?
To learn how to play the piano better. I finally knew what I wanted. And what I wanted was, I didn't want a boom chuck for the rest of my life. I wanted to really play.
That's what you call it, boom chuck.
Yeah, boom chuck, boom chuck, boom chuck. But, shoot anybody could do that. Sorry.
That's okay, that's okay.
But I went back to UNO. Did you know Kermit Peters?
No, I did not.
Well, he was a marvelous man. And he would come to shows that he and his wife were big Playhouse fans, and M's Pub fans. So he sort of matriculated me back into UNO, and where I met Harry Payne, who was my teacher and my mentor, and probably the best thing that ever happened to me.
The late Harry Payne.
The late Harry Payne, and his wonderful wife and kids. And he re-taught me how to play. And before I knew what was happening, all I did was I did what he told me to do, and I worked very, very hard because I wanted to work really hard for him. I wanted to please him. And before long, I was playing things I never thought
That's wonderful.
I would play.
That's wonderful.
It was just it was a real rebirth for me.
He lives through you forever.
Oh, that's such a nice thing to say.
He does.
He certainly influenced me, and his daughter. The last recital that I did with Harry was really many years ago, but we did the first movement of the Grieg Piano Concerto, and he played the orchestral reduction on the organ, and I played the piano part. And afterwards, his daughter came up to us, and she looked at her dad and she said, "So the torch is passed."
Oh my gosh.
And I tell you, it brought tears
Tell
to
me
my
that
eyes.
doesn't warm the heart. So you graduate in 94.
I graduated.
Yes, he actually
I
graduated.
did, and I did a year of graduate work.
Forget that. You and I forget that. He graduated.
I graduated.
All
So
right.
there.
So then, like so many others, yours truly, L.A., Hollywood comes calling.
Well, L.A. was before that. L.A. was before I went back to college. And what happened in L.A. was nothing. Absolutely nothing. And,
I've been there.
Yeah, and I don't want to get too
That's okay.
personal, I guess, but I had a real big substance abuse problem, and it sort of started to reach its zenith.
See,
while I
but
was
here's
in
the
LA.
thing. You've overcome it, okay?
Yeah, I did. I was
You've
lucky.
overcome it. A lot of people don't realize it, or they do, but they still don't have the courage and the inner strength. It's hard. It's a disease, but yet they overcome it. So you should be proud of yourself that you overcame it.
I'm the luckiest person I know. May 17th, 1987, I took my last drink, and I would be dead if I had
All right,
done
you're
that.
lucky in the fall of '96. What happens? You get a phone call.
Oh yeah. I was in Toronto, and I was doing a show called Patsy, about Patsy Cline. It was a big sit down, 6-month sit down.
She's from Winchester, Virginia.
Yeah.
I work in Virginia, so I know all about that.
She's wonderful.
That's
And
right.
I met, get this, on this production, I met her husband, Charlie Dick. They don't call him that for nothing. And I worked with the remaining Jordanaires.
Dag.
And I met Harold Bradley, who played bass on all of the original tracks.
That's incredible.
And these guys worked with Elvis too, and
That's
stuff like that.
incredible.
It's like a walking history lesson.
So you get a call from the Playhouse.
Right. So I got a call from the Playhouse where I worked in the pit for many years, and it was Charles Jones, and he asked if I would like to be the music director for the Playhouse.
And the rest, as they say, is history.
I wanted to come home.
Yeah, that's what you said. I wanted to come home. But actually in '98, you play the lead in La Cage aux Folles. You won the Theater Arts Guild Award. So you pretty much can do everything.
No, I get by.
That's right.
That role was very. I played it twice, and
Yes.
I had a wonderful time doing it, and it was absolutely terrific. And if I tried to do it today, you'd have to take me to the hospital.
Now, you have been described as an icon.
I have?
Yes, you have. Incomparable. How do you see yourself in the end?
How do I see myself? I think I can be pretty short with it. One lucky guy who was fortunate enough to meet the people that he needed in his life when he needed them. And they've stuck around. I'm the luckiest guy I know.
You know, I'm sitting here and I don't think you realize or have realized how many lives you have touched.
Oh, well, that's a nice thing to say. But the thing is, every time you can't help it. You can't help it. I mean, for good or bad, your actions have consequences. And that's something I learned in AA.
Well, there's a song from Chorus Line, What We Do for Love.
Absolutely.
And I think you and I can agree. We do this because we love it. It's our passion.
Absolutely. It's not going to make us rich.
That's for sure. It's
Although
not
I'm up for that.
Thanks.
Thank you so
Jim
much.
Boggess.
I had a wonderful time.
I had a great time.
You're right. You know what you're doing,
Well,
man.
I kind of have an idea. So thanks for coming on our show today.
My
and thanks
pleasure.
for watching the latest edition of In Focus. I'm J.J. Davis, and as always, Jim, I like to say, I'll see you around town.
Bye, you guys. Thanks.